Another week of Stealth Talent Live. I'm Phil Rant. I'm the CEO of Stealth Talent.
And I'm Brian Foster. I head up sales here at Stealth Talent.
I love it. And I have to share the link with Katarina right now. So I'm going to do that over text while we're chatting. But yeah, it's been a couple weeks, Brian. How have you been?
I've been good. We've been keeping in touch. It's good to be
Yes.
back on here. I think we've got about 2 weeks to go over those, so we should probably rapid fire some newsy stuff and some updates.
God, yes. And last week I wasn't able to join because last week was SOCOM week. So it's the big social commerce convention put on by Orca, Max Benader and Lauren Stevens over there. This was their second edition. First year, I had a panel about the hidden secrets of social shopping, and it was standing room only, really packed room, and became a pretty spicy session. This year, we're on the another stage about kind of creator business building, and again, standing room only. It was absolutely packed in there. So from what I can see, even though there was a lot of CMO panels and big celebrities, I think what people are still trying to figure out is the nuts and bolts of social commerce. So it was really good to see and lots of interesting connections.
It's interesting. We're still trying to figure it out. It seemed to pick up really quick in Asia, but it was just kind of straightforward, direct selling. This, I think we need a little bit more creativity here or something. I don't know what's the
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
Well, I think that a lot of times people like to say, oh, this country is 5 years ahead of this, or
Hmm.
America's 3 years ahead of Europe when it comes to social media. But I think what that misses is the cultural nuance
Yeah.
of like, I think
How
that
people buy, how people interact, and yeah,
totally like
yeah.
China just has there's Katarina. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, everybody. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We were just talking about SOCOM, and I do believe that China, the way that content is consumed and the way people purchase,
Yeah.
is just plain different than America. So I don't think it's about who's ahead, who's behind. I think that the way social commerce is going to realize itself in America is just going to be different from China. And absolutely, social commerce is going to do well, but I don't think it's going to do well on the same time. I don't think it's going to make up 50% of the future ecom market. I think it's just going to be like a really strong, interesting thing.
I grew up watching Ron Popeil infomercials and stuff, and I thought that's kind of what it was going to turn into. But QVC already has that locked in, so it would have to be different. And QVC also has a great social side to it too. Their digital is really strong, so it's just interesting stuff. Um,
Katarina, I'm going to put you in the hot seat for this because I love
ah,
to hear people's opinions of where you think the future of social commerce is. Is it TikTok Shop or is it something else?
I think like brand deals and just social commerce in general kind of go backwards into the realm of TikTok shop kind of affiliate link things.
mhm.
We've already seen, LTK has massive success to the point where they've taken all their brand partners internal for brand deals. They reach out to the influencers that do the best on their LTKs engagement wise and pay them directly, basically from LTK. And we've seen TikTok Shop obviously have massive success. We know my client Angela gets like 50 emails a night from
Huge.
different companies. So Korea is typically the country that we work with most often, but China also we work with pretty often, and it's interesting. So there's like a very distinct difference between the two, where I feel like Korea actually kind of falls in place a little bit more similarly to the U.S. than
Hmm.
China does. China and the way that they look at what they call KOLs over there, which is what we call influencers. KOL is also the term in Korea as well, but it's interesting seeing the way that they differentiate the two because Korea understands that you can't come to the US market and try to work with an influencer without having something to offer them. Where in China, they feel like you should just do the work because
And a
it's
lot
being
of
offered to you.
straight performance
Right.
based, right? Too like
Yeah, it's almost 100% performance based. And working with Chinese companies now for the last like 10 years, because Laura also is a big, all of her like hair brands and stuff, they all come from Hong Kong direct almost. So
Right.
working with these brands for so many years at this point, I've seen it where they're like, okay, well, why can't I get the US market to break, or why doesn't the US market want to work with us? And I'm like, I think it's going to be in the next 5 years, we're going to see a lot of even US brands start to hop on this train where, okay, I'll give you a little upfront payment, but the rest of it's going to be a commission. And it's interesting.
Cost that comes along with this, that there should be a little bit of upfront. This is different than just a banner placement or anything like. I've said that before. You know, like you still have to get up in the morning, get your camera on, and be a creator and be a host.
Well, there's also a very crass capitalism reason for doing the upfront money, which is then you can put into your terms that you can run it as Spark ads. So if you see a very performant piece of content, then you just start plowing money behind it as long as it's ROI positive until it hits a saturation point. So
isn't that how
I think brands should be doing it.
Like they're usually structured as, here's your small upfront, here's your commission affiliate, and then we're going to pay. We're not going to give you that money, but we're going to boost the hell out of that. And it's kind of like an exposure play, or that's the added value to, for the creator. Isn't that right?
When you're a commission-based creator, why not?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. But what's the secret sauce? You guys, what's the secret sauce to the e-commerce?
Volume. Volume and play the algorithm. Get the hook in line and then sell, you know?
Yeah, I think volume's a huge thing. Watching like Angela post, when she's really active, she's posting like 15 to 20 posts a day. And it's all TikTok shop stuff. Some stuff, sometimes it'll be like a video that has nothing to do with TikTok shop. So TikTok is interesting because they've changed their terms. So now they want TikTok shop affiliates to be influencers, which it just doesn't work that way. Like, I always ask people if they want to get on TikTok shop what their goal is, because if the goal is to be an actual influencer, don't do TikTok shop. It doesn't benefit you. It actually hurts you from ever working with a brand because they know that you're doing things for free with hopes of an affiliate link. So they'll just push you over to their affiliate side of things. So my talent that want to do both, I have them start a smaller page and they can do TikTok shop over there, but their main page stays their main page. So just keep it separate.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. But yeah, at SOCOM, I mean, already we've seen L'Oreal and Elf Beauty and everybody jump on TikTok shop. So beauty brands were first to market, but they just announced their Paris Hilton's on it. The Gap is on it. So it's starting to become a very legitimized, it's a place where it's not just for dropship brands, it's for everybody. So I think it's going to, $14 billion last year in US sales on TikTok shop. I have to imagine that number is going to keep going up.
Oh, for sure.
Totally. And then also in the past week, first of all, we should clear off on this, Brian. We were at the Full Screen reunion last night. Unfortunately, Katarina, we started working together in Studio 71, which was after my Full Screen days, but over 100 people who previously worked at Full Screen all showed up to this little tiny coffee shop. It was elbow to elbow inside of that place. I think way more people showed up than they thought. But it's crazy how many of those people were like junior entry-level employees 15 years ago. And now they're, even like Coco Melon, Patrick Reese, who now runs Coco Melon, was there. And like these huge people that are all CEOs and VPs, but it's kind of inspirational to see.
That's exactly, I was talking to Drew last night, Shannon, and it was the same exact conversation. It was almost like Full Screen became this incubator program for excellence. And everybody that came out of there, I would say most of the people, everyone there at the party has gone on to do greater things, bigger and better things. Really inspiring to see. I wish I could have stayed longer. Heard I missed some people. I saw a picture that you posted. I missed a couple people I'd like to see, but it was great getting to catch up with folks. Saw Dustin from Pattern, Katarina, so that he wants us to buy him lunch because we're officially on his accounts payable list. So thank you very much for those deals. Appreciate it.
I billed him yesterday.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I love it. But yeah, it was great to see it. Not only that, but just the amount of influence that was in that room and the amount of budgets people are playing with. I was kind of adding up in my brain as we were like, somebody was like, yeah, I'm spending like 20 million a year on social marketing for this. Or one person saying, yeah, the company was just valued at 100 million. And I was kind of like doing the math in my head, and I'm like, this is like a multi-billion-dollar room right now.
It's a really
And I'm like,
expensive meeting. Yeah.
yeah, it's like VidCon, but all in one coffee shop on a Thursday night in Los Angeles. It was like a
Closed coffee
killer
shop.
room.
It was closed officially for the day. We had that place like rented out. It was great.
100%, yeah. And
Great
everybody
setup.
was eating like cold Pizza Hut and stuff, but it was, you know. And unfortunately, George couldn't be there, but we appreciated our old full screen CEO, George, did send budget for the food. So thank you, George.
Oh, that's nice of him.
Yeah, that was nice of him. He's got the money for it. I don't worry about him. But yes, and then also what's happened this week, this is me being totally self-serving and self-promoting, but I'm on the selection committee for the VidCon Hall of Fame.
Congrats.
Super excited. I think there's 25 of us, and it's all like OGs in the market, like the Sean Atkins of the world and the, you know, Chris Williams, and all of us that when we started in this didn't have gray hair, and now we're very much graying. But also this meeting is going to be another like absolutely bonkers networking kind of meeting.
Yeah, really excited for VidCon this year. I think that it's going to feel different this year having our own thing going there with that in intention.
100%. Yeah, this is going to be our first VidCon as Stealth Talent because we kind of started up right after last year.
Literally right after July. Yeah.
Wild. Well, very, very excited. VidCon's going to be great
cool.
this year.
A lot of
excited.
good faces on there though, so it's exciting to see.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
Well, what do you-
going to be on there with you too, so that'll be super fun. I love it.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, the whole list is just like, it's funny because I think that on the list of maybe 25 or 30 or however many are on the selection committee, I think there was only like 2 names where I had to look them up and see who they were. Everybody else like, yeah, like it's just a very like good crew of people who have made a lot of impact. So even if they're people I don't know well, they're people who I'm like, oh, I totally know that person, you know?
That's great.
I feel
Well,
like
should we
it's-
dive into the news? Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna put my last note in. When it comes to the industry, I feel like we're in such a large industry, but such a small industry at the same time.
Totally.
That's what industries are, right? They're communities within the greater good. And it's like, yeah, they become so small. Like going to school as a young kid, it's like high school's huge, and then it becomes small. College is huge, it becomes small. Our world
Right.
was big, and then all of a sudden you go to 3 VidCons, and you look around the room and you know 30 people. You know, it's
Right.
It's great.
Totally. Yeah. And there's people who show up, and then there's people who don't show up. And the people who show up, you get to know very well. And the people who don't show up, you're like, where the hell have you been? What are you doing?
So
Like-
true.
Yeah. But no, I mean, God, the past 2 weeks have been so packed with creator economy news. I feel bad we've missed the last couple of sections, but I would love to start with news from the people who we literally saw last night, Patrick and Skaggs. They both work at Coco Melon, and Coco Melon, the YouTube first company, one that I can proudly say I was the representative at Fullscreen from 2012 to 2015. They were just purchased by Disney. So they're going to be moving. I mean, they're already a huge Netflix hit. They've done they have a movie coming out, and now Disney, who bought Winnie the Pooh and Marvel and Star Wars, they looked at Coco Melon and said that's the next frontier. So they purchased them. They're going to be moving over to Disney Plus, I'm sure. But I would love to hear thoughts just on what this means for internet IP.
Well, I can tell you my personal thoughts on Coco Melon from having a young child is that I watched enough of it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give my personal thoughts on it because it's not for me. But I can tell you right now, it captures a kid like I've never seen. So I think that Disney made a good move. I'm not sure about the timing though, because I feel like, are we kind of like over the hump of success with Coco Melon now, and is this kind of in the decline? But it seems like it's still kicking off. There's movies that are still being produced, right? And new content. It's not just old nursery rhymes that are being repurposed anymore. Like there's more new original stuff for it. And now does Disney just own that brand, or is it the entire umbrella of
It sounds like they own it all. That they just like the straight up Star Wars style. They own Coco Melon.
I wouldn't expect Disney to go in and not fully take the chips, right? Like
Yeah, I think they have all the rights. So I think Moonbug is probably still going to be like there, right, and in there. But I think like Coco Melon can't go and do a Paramount deal, you know?
Right, it's its own Marvel, right? It'll be its own Marvel section in Disney
Right.
Plus or whatever. Yeah, got it. Wow, good for them, and good for whoever put that deal together. That's probably a big one.
Absolutely. Yeah. When it comes to Coco Melon, I think it's definitely still very relevant. I have friends that live by Coco Melon. I'm very weird about TV time with my kid, but he only is allowed to watch literally the one show, and I can probably recite every word, is Trash Truck, and it's a Netflix show. It's a good one, but there's that one, and then there's one on Apple TV called Wondla, which is technically not like for his age, but I like the show, so I stuck with it. But yeah, there's when it comes to kids shows, it's honestly kind of like a cheat code when it comes to IP, because you're obviously the animation part takes a ton of time, but the kids don't realize, especially toddlers, they're not realizing that it's like the same show over and over again, and you could basically regurgitate the content as many times as possible.
It worked, though,
look
right?
at like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and look at another option is the spin-off of it, Daniel Tiger. I mean, how many kids talk about Daniel Tiger? And that's been happening since my goddaughter is 14 now, and she watched Daniel Tiger when she was like 2 or 3 years old. And so my name being Katarina, she knows it though because of Daniel Tiger. So it was funny because I used to go by Katie in my personal life, and she refused to call me that. So I have always been Katarina because of the show.
I'm wondering what the plan is, because Coco Melon has an extensive merch collection.
Yeah.
There's
They have
apps,
toys.
there's games, there's stuff,
Yeah.
there's interactive things, digital. You know, where are they going to go? I mean, I know Disney's the king and queen of merchandising, but where else could they go? Yeah.
That's
I can
exactly
see
it.
them putting like a
Yeah.
park installation for sure. I believe Coco Melon also did a tour for a while. Do you guys remember that?
So more live
I do, yeah.
events.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I can
Well,
see
that's
that.
the Disney way, right? Is like everybody thinks of Disney as like movies and TV, but they're really like theme parks and merch and distribution, right? Like,
Merchandising,
yeah, you put Coco Melon goods on Disney cruise ships and Disney theme parks and in Disney stores
Coco
and
Melon cruises. Yeah.
totally. Like
Yeah.
this is I imagine that this is their way of getting in earlier into the kids' life cycle. Like Mickey Mouse Playhouse and stuff is in there, but they haven't had like you've seen it with like Spidey and His Amazing Friends, and there's the Young Jedi series where they're trying to get the IP aged down to get them earlier. Right? But Coco Melon's like kids will start watching it when they're 6 months old. Like that's
Yeah.
as early as it gets into the life cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's the strategy. You're right. Yeah. Earlier on.
And I think, like-
get 'em young.
Yeah, I think Mickey Mouse Clubhouse too. There's been so many things that have come out that it's like very distracting. So a lot of parents have turned away from it. But like Coco Melon is about the same as far as like distraction, and not as great for their brains. But they still, I feel like so many parents gravitate towards Coco Melon because it's more. I think it's a lot more digestible outside of the bright colors. So
Yeah.
where the Clubhouse, there's like a lot of different colors going on, but then there's also a lot of stuff happening and a lot of
A lot of
talking and
songs,
yelling.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of songs.
Flipping between different things. It's more like Pee Wee's
Yeah.
Playhouse from like a variety standpoint. Yeah.
for
That's
sure.
so true. That's so
Yeah.
true. But also Coco Melon, I think that one of the things that impressed me the most when we all have young kids here, but mine are a little aged up from yours. They're 5 and 6, so they're leaving the Coco Melon universe. But the fact that it was narrativeless in a lot of ways was its power. It's like you didn't have to like follow along with the story like you do in most kid stuff. It's just a bunch of 2-minute songs and like montages of kids playing with toys and falling over, and like you cannot get more simple than Coco Melon. Katarina, you're right. It's just bright colors and recognizable faces and simple songs.
Yeah, I thought it was smart that they produced it that way too. The simple models within that CG environment that they've got. I'm assuming it was like Unity or something that they were producing in, or some other easy 3D thing. Because I mean, they were pretty archaic at the beginning, but man, they caught on real quick, and then they just improved over time with better production.
Well, I don't want to give away too much because I know it's a faceless channel and people like to protect that. But I was working with the creators of that back when they were Checkgate back in 2012 before they rebranded to Coco Melon. They had a couple rebrands in between, but they were passionate animators and they were just trying to kind of figure out the YouTube code, right? And so many of the conversations we had back then was about like, because at that point they were doing a lot of like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and the Wheels on the Bus, and we were like, okay, cool, but what do you own? Like, what's yours? What's your identity? And I will take no credit for it because all the Coco Melon stuff happened long after I stopped working with them. But a lot of the conversations we had at the time was, how do you make sure that you have an identity that's all yours? And I feel like what they nailed more than anything is their visual identity. You see a Coco Melon frame and you know it's Coco Melon.
Yeah.
You hear a Coco Melon song, you know it's Coco Melon.
They gave their characters names and individual personalities and the families, and
totally.
It's like Peanuts. Yeah.
Totally. Well, in other younger person news, but a little bit aged up from that, The Sims, which has always been a huge performer in terms of online gaming, even though a lot of people don't talk about it. Like, especially female creators for female audiences, The Sims has been like dominant forever. They're going after the Roblox market. They're going into creative mode, and The Sims has already been kind of the stamp is that you can create your own narratives around it. So, Brian, you are our gaming guy, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on what The Sims looks like in this user-generated world.
I feel like Epic has been doing this for a long time with like the Team Fortress builds and things when they were making machinimas within the game. Red and Blue was one of these. I think it's an extension of that, but also now that they're going to have what I'm seeing here is movies and content that's going to be produced inside of here as well as branded stuff. I mean, obviously we know there's going to be brands in there. That part's fine. They're going to sell into that as they do with Fortnite and UEFN. But what I'm excited about is seeing like what a Sims version of that looks like, because it's more of a true to life meta sat. And you might have some lifestyle creators coming out of this, new artists coming out of this, previous artists that might be using these tools as like a new medium for producing content like this or long form content. Verticals inside of Sims would be really interesting. Gaming and then that crossover to now vertical dramas and vertical entertainment. You've got it all. This is really fun. And I think Sims is the perfect bed for it, perfect template.
Yeah, and Katarina as as this lone female on this panel. Like, do you think that there's something unique to The Sims that just speaks to female identity so well? I'm always so curious.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people have kind of walked away from the game after Sims 4 because it's the same thing as Sims 2, but somehow Sims 2 is less clunky. So I think, I forget who developed Sims.
Maxis, I think. Yeah.
What was it?
I think it's Maxis is the name
Maxis?
of the company.
Okay, yeah. But it's owned by EA, right? Is it an EA
they distribute
property? Yeah.
Public.
Okay, I was going to say it's owned by EA. The problem is that when it got purchased, which was after Sims 2, Sims 3, same thing. Sims 4, same thing. But now they've made it so it's entirely free, but they want you to buy all these packs. And I think a lot of women are not interested in doing that. Like, we want to pay for something one time. I shouldn't have to pay to unlock the full game. And like, there's jailbreaks and stuff around it. So I think what Sims is trying to figure out is like, how do we get our, usership up? Like, I've had people that I've followed for many years that are on TikTok and they do Sims creations and they've completely walked away from the game. So they've given up their account. So this has been happening for the last year and a half. My sibling is also very invested in the Sims world as well. I mean, I used to growing up, I would sneak my PC in for my parents' office to play The Sims all night. So I'm very passionate about The Sims. That is the one video game I gravitate towards. Yeah. What?
So you're a player of the game too.
Oh yeah, I loved the game. I loved Sims 2 specifically. I downloaded Sims 4 oh my gosh, during COVID, and I actually was more leaning towards just like going and playing WoW versus playing Sims. Those were like my two games growing up, and I'd rather pay monthly for WoW versus pay for $150 or $200 for packs. So when I was like justifying what I would do, because I give up playing games every like couple of months and I don't return, so $500 investment versus $15 a month just makes no sense to me.
The last decade brought about live service in games, and I think that's starting to fizzle out. I mean, this came out over 10 years ago now. It's always been like that live service model. You can play it, but if you really want some fun stuff, you know, you got to put down your credit card.
Right.
I think they're getting away from that stuff now. I think live service in general is kind of a bad word in the industry, especially with things like Concord, this last one, Highguard, that just failed. These games have lasted literally weeks, and then they were shut down after 6 to 8 years of development time, and these people have lost their jobs. I think this gives a little bit of life, especially into a 12-year-old game now. Maybe 2012
Sims
it came
4?
out. What?
The Sims 4, I believe.
Sims 4 has been out since like
2013.
12?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's like 2013 or something.
So 2013 if it is. I mean, that's crazy. And
yeah.
So just like GTA, they're going to breathe new life into something by just literally opening up the tools to the creator community. I think that's great, and I think that as long as they keep it as free, like you're saying, and not so freemium, I think that they'll have a better chance of success here. People will really glom onto it
for sure
and come back.
Yeah, with GTA, that was a big thing during COVID of people creating their own servers. I mean, there's a server for Atlanta. Yeah. There's obviously a server for LA, but the game is based off.
I think they're very similar games. They're satirical looks at our reality. It's just The Sims is the very nice version of that. There's not a whole lot of violence, although you can have Sims kill each other, right? Like, and they can do it like Psycho style in the shower and things. It's fun, but that's just kind of the play on that, you know. But
that is the first thing I thought. When I saw
Phil, you're breaking up so bad.
And how the idea of doing this was like, my internet sucks. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes. We just can't see you.
Oh, shoot. Well, sorry, guys.
I would maybe
what were you
turn
saying?
your camera off.
It sounded like a great point.
Yeah, like it made me think of Grand Theft Auto role-playing servers first, right? Because like we used to represent Life Simmer back in the full screen days, and the kind of content she made was voiceover narrative stuff, like where she was playing the characters and improvising and walking through the day. And yes, you're right, Katarina. There was a wild amount of like inappropriate stuff, like people were dying and people were like leaving babies behind in the house, and like that's part of it. But it's also like very storytelling and lifestyle in a way that, and also I think what can't be overlooked is a lot of people are doing this in Roblox and Minecraft, but those are like blocky, weird looking characters. And The Sims has always defined itself as being like a little sexier, right? Like people are able to dress and look good and be, you know, like they're able to do relationships that don't feel like block people doing relationships, but like attractive young people having relationships, you know?
I feel like this will be a more successful version of like a meta marketplace than even the Meta group could have made. This is going to be something that people are both familiar with, and then to take your sim from your house that you created, walk down the street and go to a marketplace and you can buy real things. I think that's pretty interesting. It might start getting scary, and the meta and VR thing kind of gets to me a little bit because I got to keep detached, but I think that's where things are going. And it's this might also be another place to live for e-commerce and live shopping. Do it in Sims as a stream, you know? That'd be interesting.
Yeah, just kind of, I don't know. I go back to GTA RP. I think when it comes to Sims does have some very inappropriate like players and role-playing stuff. There's this one girl who's more wholesome where if you send her like the specs of your house, she'll draw it for you. And then there's another guy who like instead of making things convenient, he'll build your house and you have specifically like an inconvenient part of your house you just don't know how to decorate, and he'll show you what to put with like different Sim stuff in it. But there's a lot of really fun gamers through Sims. The only problem is that EA isn't necessarily the most friendly when it comes to their own IP being out there, so they kind of get by playing The Sims, they kind of get blocked from ever really being able to do like brand deals or anything else. So I think that
EA is
opening
about to change even more now with their new ownership and.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think allowing it though to be completely like a free market essentially for the gamers, it's going to be so much more interesting.
Monetized through transactions, but yeah, it should
Yeah.
be a platform. It should be an open sourced platform, just like Valve's, just like
Yeah.
GTA. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Chief Keef made like I would probably say millions off of his GTA server that he built.
Hell yeah.
Him and I believe Post Malone also built the server together, and then they started selling it to people that wanted in.
And
This was
that's a
during
cool
COVID.
factor, right?
Brilliant.
Be part
Yeah.
of that really cool server. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's honestly like, so basically you can like go to their houses, you can play, like you can drive their cars, like it's very interactive where like, and it opens up a piece of your life to an artist that you never really knew existed.
Yeah.
So
Digital
I think like
extension.
Sims is probably going to be like a resurgence of that, where like
Yeah.
GTA is still pretty limited as to what you can do. You do a ton of stuff, but it's so much more car
Not like
focused,
this.
activity focused, where like Sims is like, this is my house, I'm gonna go to the grocery store, I'm gonna acquire a job. Like those are, it's much more like that, where GTA's entire like motive is like steal cars, you know, shoot at the police or evade them,
It's in the
etc.,
title,
etc.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's called Grand Theft Auto. You know, it's like,
Yes,
if you're
Right.
expecting something else going into that game, you're you're going to the wrong game.
of course. Yes.
Totally. But also, speaking of Grand Theft Auto, I think that there's probably a lot of these games are preparing for the release of the next Grand Theft Auto, if and when it ever happens, as somebody who's been waiting very patiently for a long time. But I
April,
know
May,
that there's
right?
going to be a lot of
Scheduled.
interactive and creative modes.
April,
It's
May,
it's
I
been
think.
scheduled. It keeps getting pushed back and
Yeah.
pushed back and pushed back, you know.
They just want to
But
make sure
but
it's
when it
ready,
drops,
okay?
it'll be for sure. But I think like everybody sees that it's going to be such a cultural definer in terms of creator led experiences and monetization that everybody wants to get their creator play in and habituated before that.
Which I think this is smart to do this because there's no way, unless they come up with some miracle, that the new GTA is going to have a full online like GTA Online was, because that came out years or maybe 2 years after the release. So that means that they would still have EA, I mean, in this instance, would still have a 2-year head start on that. But
Right.
whatever GTA comes out with, that's going to sell bonkers, and whatever online they come up with, they've got a lot to live up to on the last one. So it's good. There's more competition here for those online things. I think it's fun.
It's also been like, what, 20 years? When was the
Since
last?
6, since 5,
What? Yeah, when was 5? 2007, 2008?
13.
Was
This
it that?
It was like the same year as The Sims.
But still, 13 years.
Oh yeah, no, it was,
That's-
yeah, 2013. Okay, so it's been 13 years.
Yeah, and that game ruined my life when it came out because it was so good, and I couldn't stop playing it. And I had to it's kind of like Skyrim. I had to peel myself away and be like, I need to have a life too. I can't even imagine with the next one, with them talking about it, like, you hear rumors. The map is going to be as big as the whole United States, literally. And there's going to be endless design modes, and it'll be NPCs that will be AI enabled to develop their own. Like, there's been rumors forever. But every single one I hear, I'm like, well, if anyone can do it, they can. They've been developing it for so long that why not? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see how they
I love
play
that.
that out with the YouTube and Twitch audience too. I'm sure there's going to be no paid. There's going to be nothing that they do. It is going to be all word of mouth on that game and distributing
sure.
codes probably. They might not even do that.
Yeah. They might not even do that. Everyone's going to be playing it. Like the day that it drops, every streamer, regardless of genre, is going to be playing that, and it's going to make new stars like crazy, just like Fortnite did, and
Great
Hearthstone
call.
and
For
everything else. It's just going to make stars.
Right.
Maybe we'll be one of them. We'll see. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll do it on our Stealth Talent Live that week.
Stealth streams.
I love it. I love it. Well, we should also talk about Jesser, who just took over a Bulls game for their creator night. Huge success, made tons of press. Everyone was talking about it. There was a charity component, and I think that finally the sports leagues have realized in a bigger way that they are not doing enough with creators. And then when they do, they're like, wow, this is a pleasant surprise. And we're like, we've been here all along. But I would love to hear thoughts, like We should also bundle this with the other story, which is KSI bought a British soccer club, right? So it's like this kind of sport, and the Sidemen have sold out Wembley a few times with their soccer matches. Like creators in sports, even boxing, taken over by creators. Like creators in sports works. So what if you were? I'll frame it this way: if you owned a team right now in any sport, what would you do with creators?
Yeah. I know already because I used to work with 2K gamers. So
Yeah.
this is my world. It's interesting because the NBA was the first traditional sports market that appreciated influencers years ago before you even knew it. So NBA 2K is actually owned by the NBA, and their gaming platform and like teams that they've developed are all co-signed by the NBA. They pay like the creators some amount of money, and then if they win like a big pot at the end of it. And essentially they play alongside of what the NBA games for like 4 to 6 weeks would look like, but instead of playing like in the court, you're playing online. And you're really there though. You're really wherever they're located. So Milwaukee, Chicago, etc. They put you up in a hotel or a apartment, and they have you basically be part of the team. You're allowed to go to the games. You can travel with them. So you're very involved. Jesser was one of the influencers on the NBA side. So he's worked with the NBA, I think, since like 2017. And something like this, like a takeover event, I feel like was designed for someone like Jesser, who's just really good at driving impact. He's built, obviously, a mega successful career for himself throughout the years, and I feel like, you know, at some point when you're maintaining such a young fan base, you have to do something to give back. Working with the Chicago Bulls and the Bucks on this is like, honestly, I feel like it goes back to like maybe even one of his first brand deals with the NBA. Where, and I can't remember who he worked with first. So, but the Bucks are the first NBA team that ever owned a 2K gaming team as well. So this seems just like super organic. And then Jesser's always kind of been the face of anything NBA related when it comes to 2K stuff. So that this is like, I can see a lot more of this happening. Any of the kids that were part of like the original 2 Hype House, I feel they're all adults now, kids.
Right.
I think Jesser's like probably like 26 or 7 at this point. But yeah, like, you know, I remember when he was like 15 posting on YouTube and doing insane views. So a lot of stuff when it comes to like 2K, unfortunately, is like, you know, parents typically are purchasing games like that because they can't afford to buy like a PC and stuff like that. So, you know, working on like Xbox or PlayStation is what is the affordable option for gaming. So being able to give back to some kids like this is honestly huge, and I'm sure that they're gonna remember that for the rest of their life.
I think it just comes down to like anything else. You better pick the right person to do something like this. You're not going to pick a VTuber to come out to the middle of the Bulls stadium and people are going to recognize who they are. There's probably going to be like 20% of the audience is going to be like, oh, I know who they are. I watch them, but completely anonymous in the rest of for the rest of the field, right? But Jesser's got a personality. You need to find that person. I think gamers in general have been, and YouTubers in general, have been multiplayer competitors for the last 15 years. Call of Duty, basketball games, FIFA, football, Madden, etc. They all are sports players and they're announcers at the same time and color broadcasters. That's a really hard combination to do, and they can do it. And I think this is the right kind of person to put in front of something like this for an IRL event. And I also think that it gets people that would have no idea who Jesser is to actually be like, take notice and be like, oh, okay, I get it. And, you know, you put on a good show too, which is always helpful. So it's about the quality and about the person.
Absolutely. And I put it the other way around, which is these sports leagues are struggling to get Gen Z to care, right? Like they're really aging up. Like still in terms of live viewership, the sports are still rocking it, but you start to see it fading in the age. Like it's kind of like network TV. It's up. So you see something like this where they have a huge success in a sellout night, but I also assume that it's a sellout night with a bunch of people that otherwise maybe don't go to NBA games or don't care about the Bulls, right? They might just care about Jesser himself. So like
Right.
for me, for sports leagues and for football clubs and what we saw with Wrexham and what we're going to see with KSI, or even the kind of people that go and see the Sidemen in Wembley, are they the kind of people that go to sports games regularly? Probably less so, right? So I think it's existential for a lot of these sports leagues to start leaning in just to try to get Gen Z to care again, to want to see a 2-hour long like competition of sport and to understand the rules of basketball, to understand the rules of baseball and soccer. So like if I was these sports team owners, I'd be thinking of all of these cool collaborations. It might not even be creators as much as just what does Gen Z care about and how do you get the nights that are dedicated to those things. One Piece. Dodgers did One Piece night last year, and it crushed. Why? Because anime kids will do anything that they're told to in order to show their fandom, even go sit through a Dodgers game. So I'm like, I just imagine if I was in the marketing departments of these sports teams, I'd be doing everything I could of saying, how do I stay Gen Z relevant? Creators are tip of the spear for that, but I think there's so many other plays they could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You're so right on trying to get brands or trying to get kids to care about sports. I think we grew up being excited about sports because we played them. And a lot of kids nowadays, statistically, are playing less sports because of injury related things. So a lot of, because we know what happens to people who play like football. Yeah, CTE is a huge thing. So I think a lot of people are more apprehensive about letting their kids play sports. I think personally on my front, being someone that's initially from the Midwest and you guys too, like I think it's so necessary to have that third space as a kid. The relationships that I've developed from playing soccer, like I've carried on into my adult life. But I think that it's dependent on parenting and what resources are available to them. But when it comes to like watching basketball, okay, now your kid wants to go to a basketball game that costs money. So it's like, I feel like a lot of kids just grow up understanding that it's just not something that's like, maybe in the cards for them. But it's interesting because the NBA like really knows their fan base into nurturing that and trying to get the younger audiences to care. So I've noticed the NBA is kind of sustained actually in the last 10 years versus dropped off, where like NFL, their views have been tanking throughout the last decade. And it has many other things to do with just that. But I think it's very interesting to kind of like see. And while that's going on, sports, what is on the rise, you have soccer or football, and then also F1 is incredibly impactful now, where, I mean, F1 is viewed as like the richest sport in the world. You have to have so much money to be able to even go to one of the events. But people and kids and Gen Z are very interested in F1. And I don't know if it's like because of the lifestyle that comes with it or just like overall it just seems to be more of like an intimate experience than going to like a sports game where you're around like 70,000 fans. But there's something that's driving that. I've had, so many creators get invited to F1 events and they're definitely Gen Z.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I think like where F1 has slotted in is what the Kentucky Derby used to be, where it's like you go there to be seen. It's opulence incarnate. You know that you're somebody if you get to go to an F1 event. It's the Rolex of sports. So the people who are kind of like those upwardly mobile aspirationalists, F1 is the sport. It is the rich sport, right? So, but I think that's like branding, right? F1 did a wonderful job branding themselves as like, first we're kind of European and like, ooh la la, it feels very interesting. And then they started bringing it into American, but it was expensive and the suites were the biggest brands and billionaires were showing up, right? So I think that a lot of the other sports need to figure out, like in this new universe, what's their brand? What is baseball's brand in this new universe? It can't just be like the sport that your dad played or that like stickball in the Bronx kind of thing. It's got to like find its identity. Is like what kind of person are they going after and how do you hyper target? And I think that's really hard for these people. It was just a foregone conclusion that they were part of Americana because it's just
Right.
not true anymore.
Yeah, they're not statues, right? They need to change along with the times. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, it is the all-American sport, or baseball is, the oldest American sport. Let's be honest, it needs to change, and things need to change. I mean, rules change all the time. Might as well change the marketing.
Yeah. And it's slow. And people are losing attention spans for slow things. And
Oh,
it's
for
like,
sure.
well,
They
then what does it
sped it
mean
up.
now?
But they
Well,
sped it
yeah.
up. They've got a pitch count now, right? They took
Right.
those steps. There are things that are. I mean, even football now has lower times, and like, they've changed the way that when people can run and when people can go for the injury issues and things. So all those things, like the rules and things, get changed. Maybe they need to do a better job of communicating those through influencers to show that there are changes being made, and then people can see that it's not so old school anymore, and they are changing with the time. Like maybe it's communication and the messaging, right? Yeah.
Well, I think that there's also something that we're learning time and time again, but I don't know if a lot of these sports leagues are crystallizing it, which is personal stories are very important. There's a reason why women started watching the Chiefs when Travis Kelce started dating Taylor Swift, and they became like it added billions of dollars to the value of the Chiefs, and frankly, billions of dollars to the NFL. It's because suddenly people knew who Travis Kelce was. They knew about his relationship. They were like looking at who was in the stands on that day and who Taylor was sitting with. There's a reason why boxing works when it's Logan and Jake Paul. People care. They love him or hate him. They care about if he's knocked out. They want to understand, like, who's this person who's going to punch them in the face. And
But aren't
frankly,
they
I think
also more
combat
interested in-
sports.
Aren't they also more
Yeah.
interested in those close-ups of the people that are in the audience? And you've got like Trump,
Totally.
and you've got Dave Portnoy hugging,
Yeah.
and all, you've got those people. It's a spectacle in the
Yeah.
audience as much as it is in the ring.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought up Trump and, frankly, the whole manosphere. Joe Rogan, it's why combat sports are having a hot moment right now. Yes, people want to see violence on, like, that's very universal, is
That's
to
us.
just be able
Yeah,
to see
that's freedom.
violence as sport. But also, they've got huge personalities where you care about your stories. Are they getting booed in the ring or are they not? It's something WWE has always
Wrestling,
understood, right?
exactly.
It's like personalities drive these things, and people need to care about, like, why do I care about the outcome? It's not just because I'm from Detroit and therefore I care about the Tigers anymore. I need to know, why do I care that pitcher wins? That's
Who's
just
the
the world we
heel?
live in now.
Who's the hero? Who's the heel? What's the story? Yeah. What's the drama? Yeah, 100%. It's still
Totally.
a very violent soap opera on any level. Combat sports in general. Yeah.
So
And I think
true.
sports in general, but yeah.
I love it. Well, we have always reserved the end of this to talk a little bit about Stealth Talent News, and I think so much of the news comes on the Katarina side, and that you are expanding the talent team greatly. I don't know if you want to say a few words about the new team members and their focus, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish that some of them could join, but maybe we can do that next week. I will get that like brief to them that they're allowed to be on, but we have 3 new members on because I don't think they know that we do this, so it's something that
Right.
I
Fair,
haven't talked to
fair.
them about. Yeah, yeah, we brought on 3 new team members. 2 of them are going to be talent managers. Another one is on the community side of things. When we talk about community, I feel like I need to bring this up every time because every time people are like, what is that? So community is essentially anything that is behind a paywall. And then what also dips kind of into community would be like Snapchat, where it's just a more intimate experience. I feel like Snapchat isn't really a social media that is publicly known or publicly like sent out to people. It's something that, hey, what's your Snapchat has kind of always been more of like a personal question versus a question of like, what's your YouTube channel? I think they have
Yeah.
2 very different feelings. So
The way
Snapchat-
that I put inside of our document, which I was very proud of, our stealth talent description of community is how do you organize and monetize a super fan community?
Yeah.
So it's really about that super fan as opposed to just broad community. You know?
Yes. So Cedric will be heading up that side, or not heading up, but just taking care of that side. He has a great Rolodex of people that he's met throughout the years. He's been in the space for about 8 years. Previously was at Grail, Shine, and a couple of other talent management companies. Started out in PR initially, and just has, taken off. But I feel like when it comes to talent management, it gets exhausting as a talent manager and someone that's done it consistently for the last 15 years. So I think community allows for you to still be in the space without being nearly as involved as you would normally be in the space. With talent management, you're managing 100% of everything, where community is a little bit more hands off because you're just taking care of that one portion of the business. And then Ariel and Bray. Ariel's been in this space for, I think, 10 or 15 years. She started out in PR. Currently, she's studying for her LSAT. So, hopefully we can go ahead and hire her on the legal team eventually. But she is a absolute badass when it comes to being a manager. She works with a lot of the female lifestyle beauty space people. Very similar to my client, LaRasia Andrea, in that space. And she came in, she took on 10 of our talents that we didn't have time for, and she's been kicking ass on that front. So I'm so happy to have her on board. And then we had just started this week, Bray, who he is known in the last 10 years for being an artist himself, but also working in the music industry and then being a tour manager for a few years. He'll be helping us on the podcasting side, which is super exciting. So it's something that we didn't have the infrastructure for previously. And podcasting is going to continue to grow.
For sure.
It is not going to slow down. It's been a thing
no.
for the last 10 years. And the podcasting space, although it is on YouTube, I feel like is fully separate from influencing as a whole. And I think it is a quicker transition from music to that than it would be from music to influencer management. So that's kind of why the decision behind that. But he's also still going to be helping us out on the music front. My non-exclusive client, Eric Reprid, he's been helping him try to get a publishing deal, so we're kind of working through the kinks on that. And
Great job, Katerina.
I'm so excited about that. Yeah, honestly, you're expanding your team beautifully. Yes.
Really good people.
They are all winners. Yes.
Yeah, I'm very excited about everybody. I think it's I love working with people that I've worked with in the past. That always makes me happy, being able to team up again. But I think it's I know their work ethic, and I know that they have every possibility, every possible chance to be successful, especially with Stealth backing them. So I'm excited to see what they do.
You're like Tarantino with his Samuel Jackson. You got to put him in, bring him to all your projects. Yeah.
Put me in, coach.
I love it. I love it. Well, cool. Yeah, and then we've got a couple of branded videos that are dropping very, very soon that I am thrilled about. I think these are going to be kind of that 50 to 100 million view, maybe more bangers with some of our larger clients. We've seen rough cuts of them. They're going to trial reels pretty soon. We like to think of ourselves as being very tech forward and crafty when it comes to the way that we do influencer marketing, and a lot of people don't know about things like trial reels or even ManyChat integrations and things like that. But through all of these techniques, we think that this is going to be not just viral, but have many swings on bat to be viral. So just constantly thrilled about the work that our creators are doing and the work that everybody on this call is doing and everybody else on the team. I just can't believe that we're already at 11 people who are day and night working at Stealth. We haven't been around that long, and this is crazy to me, but could not be more thrilled with the growth.
And the quality.
11 great people who I'm happy to talk to every single day, which is like a miracle when you're scaling a company, but I love it. Cool. Anything else before we wrap up? How are we feeling?
I feel good. Ready to get the day continued.
Thanks.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining. We will be back next week. We're going to try to make this more regular, and we'll bring on more voices in the future. But thank you so much for joining us and spending some of your Friday with us.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks.